there is just one planet and there are just limited resources and there is no way around. So it's high time that we look at sustainability, but we also look at from environmental, social, and ethical perspective as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Projectified. I'm Steve Hendershot. Emphasizing sustainability on projects is now table stakes, just as essential as risk registers or budgets. Today, we're exploring how project teams can raise the bar with the help of two guests. Michael Mylonas is Director of Project Management for the Gwet'in First Nations government in the Nemaiah Valley in British Columbia, Canada. And Pratik Mishra is Senior Strategic Portfolio Manager at Zalando in Berlin. Thank you both for joining us. Let's start here. Why is it important for each of you as project professionals to embed sustainability deeply into every phase of your projects? Michael, let's start with you.
Well, for me, not just on a professional level, but even on a personal level, a human kind of level, having sustainability built in as a foundation of a project, I think really boils down to a desire and a sense of responsibility to deliver projects that are considerate and respectful of the environment, the planet, the people, and the actual asset that's being developed and delivered. And to also deliver those in a manner, in a way that is supportive of those factors. And by virtue of where I am here in Gwet'in, which is one of the 6 First Nations communities that makes up the Tsilhqot'in Nation here, sustainability is really a part of the core identity of the community and really a foundational element, which is really fortunate for me in a sense. And we are actually on what's called Aboriginal title. And so the nation's people have full jurisdiction, the opportunity to decide how things happen, control, benefit from the land. And so we're in a very unique position where we're able to really build sustainability as foundational elements in all of the processes of management and all of the projects we do. And so I think on a professional level, that kind of translates to really having sustainability be essential to delivering optimal, robust, responsible, and long-term solutions.
That's great. So Pratik, a lot of Michael's projects are infrastructure. For you, you're in the fashion industry. What's your take on this question? Why is it important to build in sustainability end to end?
I believe we as project professionals do not just deliver outcomes, but we deliver impact. We deliver future, which impacts people, which impact community, which impact businesses, which means every project that we deliver has a footprint. I mean, it was the thing of the past where sustainability was just considered as good to have or something which can be added if you have an extra time or budget. But oh man, things have changed. The world has evolved. We had been reaching out to our customers within Europe and asking them, like, if you have an option to buy on a platform which offers more sustainable and ethical products, will you go for it? Customer said yes. It creates a positive perception and positive trust for the brand, which has more and more sustainable offering. But it's not just customers. Let's look at investors. In the last few years, if we look at the data, there has been investments in the companies who had been performing positively on their environmental, social, and governance aspects. When you look at Europe, we are heavily driven by regulation. So I feel sustainability is a license to operate in order to create long-term value for a long time. And I personally believe sustainability is not just doing less harm. It's doing much more to build a resilient business model which can survive for the future.
Your team has the sort of ethic and moral imperative of sustainability, also the business case, but it's cool that it sounds like the rest of your stakeholders are also bought in. Is that true? And how does that change the game? Do you run into misconceptions around sustainability and what's the impact of everyone involved in the project being on that same page in terms of its import?
I love that question. I mean, when it comes to misconceptions and challenges, when it comes to sustainability, the lack of buy-in, especially from the senior stakeholders, is a big challenge. And it's a challenge because when we look at sustainability, we always look at from an economical or business point of view. So what can we achieve in the short run? What we miss is what can we achieve in the long run. So what's really helpful is to look from a different perspective. Look, like investment right now could be high, but what kind of returns can we get in the long run? So getting that executive buy-in is the key, where we still face some challenges. But what really helps here at Zalando is to translating the sustainability language into financial terms. So for example, how much of a footprint comes from a product? How can we make our supply chain more compliant? Or how can we make it even more stronger? So that really helps us to get a big buy-in. And at the end of the day, explaining the people, why does it matter?
So you do, in fact, have to sometimes make the case to some stakeholders about the value of sustainability, and you're able to do so. Michael, what's that like for you in your context?
I'm fortunate enough. I like to say that often. I'm fortunate enough. The infrastructure projects delivered are for the community. And so sustainability, as I had mentioned before, is really a core part of the identity of this community. And that's environmental sustainability in particular. So I often don't have too much trouble building those elements into projects. It's more likely that I'll get negative feedback if those elements haven't been built into a project. It's an interesting experience that way. But from other perspectives of sustainability, if we look at people and the economy and things like that, there can be challenges. But if we go back to some of the things that Pratik had mentioned about, people's expectations, he had mentioned investment, funding, in our case, is another big one. A lot of funders are looking for sustainable elements in their projects, right? And so we have to be cognizant, I think, of why we're trying to build sustainability, different various elements into our project, and be able to communicate those things, right? Because often if we look at various parts of it, like risk management, the potential cost savings that might come from including sustainable elements and sort of building that business case, certain respects that Pratik was talking about, that's certainly a very effective way to help get that buy-in. Funders like to see sustainable elements, particularly environmentally related ones, but often those come with some greater upfront costs, right? So if we look at the inclusion of clean energy in a piece of infrastructure, for example, that looks great to a funder who says they want to see sustainability elements in a project, but it also has a bit of a higher price tag to start. And so that becomes a conversation of, well, let's look at this a bit longer term, see how that plays out, and in terms of the finances and all of that. And so these are the kinds of back and forth conversations that are not uncommon.
We always look at environmental sustainability. Yes, reducing the carbon footprint is critical, but what we skip is the social aspect, which is, are we serving the local community, as Michael mentioned? Are we helping people of color? Are we helping people of diverse background?
Michael, what's an example for you where you put sustainability into action?
So I'm going to talk about a project that's in progress, if that's okay, Steve. So it's not complete yet, but currently under construction, and that is a community center. We actually call it a community cultural building. So we've built in a lot of solar power into the building and battery. And the reason for that is kind of twofold. So one of the community's priorities is to move towards cleaner energy sources across the valley. The other big reason is we're remote. We're about 3 hours away from the closest town or city. And so that's one way. So 6-hour round trip from the closest town. And so we're not connected to a centralized power provider here in BC, we're actually have our own microgrid. And so when we build new infrastructure, the draw and the impact on that central system is a big factor for consideration. One thing we really try to do is tie the nation's and the community's history, culture, the language into the infrastructure we're building and into this building in particular. And so this building draws from the traditional pit house structure. The lean-to structure was very common historically for the community. And those are two of the main structural pieces that kind of make up this building. And we're also able to have a completely log and timber frame structure, which pulls from historical building materials. And it really is in line with the aesthetic as well. And we'll have interior design elements that kind of are focused on reflecting and sharing the history and the language, right? Signage will be in the language as well as in English. And so all of these little elements have come together to really bring forward and into focus this kind of cultural, historic language sustainability, which I'm really happy and really proud of.
I love the leaning into meaning and that history. Let me go back to something you said earlier in that answer. I mean, you were experimenting with new energy inputs, solar, battery, also, trying to make the building itself perform in an efficient way, but a lot that was new. How did you go about setting expectations?
It's a lot of communication. We couldn't do everything. We couldn't get to 100% solar. And so we had to kind of talk about, well, what is the expectation here, right? Like, what can we get to? And the community would love to see 100% solar, of course. And it's unfortunately something we couldn't get to 100% on this project. But I think really having sound reasoning and doing the work and being able to communicate, the effort that was put in there and the reasons for why the bar might be set at a certain level, people tend to understand, I find, and appreciate the effort.
Okay, last couple questions for each of you. The first one, anything that you have had to learn or add to your skill set in order to elevate the role of sustainability in your project management?
The project managers of the 21st century are like the change makers, because we are the ones who translate vision to reality, from purpose to planning, from vision to action. But in order to do that, you need three things: a clear mindset. Like, why are we doing it? What's the rationale behind? Is there a better way of doing projects, irrespective of the industry? Once you have the right mindset, you need the correct skill set. Like, do you have sufficient skills? Do you understand where does the sustainability come from? What is the background? What is the technical terminology? So that it can help your mindset to move towards the sustainable transformation. And lastly, but not the least, is the tool set. So you can be super motivated, you have the skills, but you still need the correct tools to ensure that sustainability is integrated in day-to-day life. And if you do all three, the mindset, the tool set, and the skill set, then sustainability is creating meaningful change for the people, for the community, for the organizations, for everyone.
Awesome. Michael, did you do anything to prepare yourself to lead projects more sustainably?
The focus of it is actually quite new. I've been here 5 years, and so it really became a focus for me when I first landed in the community here. And largely because, as I had mentioned, it's part of the core identity here. Because of the community I'm in and their focus on sustainability, I've learned a lot of a kind of basic foundational level of knowledge from just engaging with the people on various projects. In looking to how I could better deliver projects and better serve the community in alignment with those values of sustainability, and thinking about, when it came to maintaining my PMP, I started looking at, well, what are some things I could look at in terms of courses to be able to do that. And so I came across Green Project Management's certification course. And I went through that, became certified, and that really opened my view and perspective on sustainability. And I think, as we mentioned a couple times throughout this chat here, it being more than just the environmental component, which is, of course, incredibly important. I'm never going to downplay the environmental component of sustainability, but Pratik had mentioned the social, the kind of the people aspect of these other aspects of sustainability that this course really opened my mind to. And so I've been working on being able to build those into the community center project we've talked about today, and other infrastructure projects that we're working on and looking at into the future.
Just one more question for each of you. One thing you would share with other project managers who are looking to increase the role of sustainability in their projects. Pratik, let's start with you.
I believe every project has a legacy. The question is if it's a positive or a negative one. So my message to every project manager would be, think about sustainability right from the step one. Like, sustainability could be integrated right from the design phase to execution phase. Every decision that we take should be from the environmental and the social aspect should be covered, along with the economical and the financial aspect. And the most important thing is to be curious. Ask a question every time when you start a project. What kind of environmental and social impact does the project has? Once you know the kind of impact a project has, then you always have so many opportunities to improve it. So my message would be curious, ask questions. That's the first step to go.
Yeah, thank you. Michael?
Pratik almost took the words out of my mouth. Curiosity is really foundational, really important. I think if you have a genuine curiosity, you're going to be in a great place to start. And understanding the why, really understanding the why of building sustainability into the project is really important. So taking time to understand that, being able to communicate it to people, and again, going to echo Pratik a little bit, but building it in as a foundation from the start of a project and weaving it into the fabric of that project, right? And making sure it's revisited throughout the course of whatever project it is you're delivering.
Great. Guys, this has been fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for walking us through how you're implementing sustainability into your project leadership.
Thanks for having me.
This is a pleasure to be part of this conversation.
Thanks for joining us. Like the episode? Subscribe to Projectified on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a rating or review. Your feedback matters a lot. It helps us get the support we need to continue making this show. And be sure to visit us online at pmi.org/podcast, where you'll find the full transcripts for episodes, as well as links to related content like useful tools and templates, the latest research reports, and more. See you next time.